Hi everyone, it's Rita with Everything Homemade, and this is for you if you are up north raising quail and want to learn how to winterize their coop. Now I'm in northern Alberta, Canada, so we see winters from -10 like it is right now today, just the beginning of winter, all the way to -50 Celsius. That is right, -50 Celsius, and that can be without the wind chill. It is very common to have a cold snap between -30 and -45 without the wind chill, and then -55 with the wind chill is not uncommon for about 2 to 3 weeks in winter. On average, we're about -20 to -30 is about the average temperature throughout winter. So we're at the end of November here. You can see some snow on the ground. I would not come out here without some mitts, toque, neck warmer, and a nice bulky jacket because it is chilly. And it is time to winterize the quail house. So the very first thing, what you want to consider about winterizing your coop, especially when it's outside. Okay, if you got a coop in the garage or whatever, this isn't really necessary, but we're talking about coops that are out there in the elements. Okay, so first thing you want to think about is what are you going to do about water, because up north water freezes solid. So what we do is we actually transition our birds and actually all of our livestock, dogs, cats, cattle, everything that we raise goes on snow. It's the beginning of winter here. There's not much, so we are fighting a bit with water, so we got to give them fresh water 2 to 3 times a day. But when the winter really hits or comes, then we have containers that are not metal, and we fill it with fresh snow, and they literally eat the snow. So we will do this completely all the way through winter. Now, wild animals survive by eating snow, and the birds have no problem. I've been doing this for a long time, year after year, raising the chickens, the ducks, the geese, the quail, the cattle, all on snow in winter with great results. My grandma did it. Even living further up north where I grew up, snow was what we fed the critters in the winter. So that really eliminates fighting with water. The next thing you want to consider is how your coop is actually constructed. So if you see here, this big window that you see is completely open in the summer time. It has beautiful ventilation. The sun comes right through, and they got so much time sunning themselves. But in winter, the winds can be the death to your birds. So, for example, if you're not used to the cold and you go outside and it's like -20, no wind, it's cold. But if it's -20 and then you have another 10-degree windshield, and now it feels more like -30, it's so cold to your bones. Like, you come out there and you're just like literally have to dress right up. That goes with your birds too. Cold is cold, but cold with a biting wind is something that can kill your flock really easily. So what we do is we take a heavy duty plastic and we actually put that around all of our windows, I'll call them, that have screen on them. So we will do that to all of them. And one, we stop the wind from whipping through into the coop, and two, they are still able to get light. So we're not, blocking them right in, because the birds still need light. Even if it's not that sunny like it is today, yes, it's not that sunny, but they still have light, and that's really important as well. You don't want your birds living in a dark coop 24/7. That's not cool either. So it allows light to penetrate, sun to penetrate into the coop, kind of like a greenhouse in the winter. It actually warms things up, but it stops the biting wind. Does not prevent the cold, but it stops the biting wind. And that's really important for your flock to survive the winter, especially up here in the north. Quails will bulk up naturally. They'll create more fat. They will get themselves ready for the winter. They'll eat some more. So their bodies are able to handle the winter. What they can't handle is getting that heavy, cold, miserable wind on them. So you want to shelter them that way. You don't want your quails wet. So another bonus about snow is that they're never flicking any water anywhere or freezing up their bills or their feet. You don't, and with that being said, we don't use added heat in our coops. Now you'd be like, well, why not? One, it's really expensive with electricity, and the main other one is it's actually, I find with raising the chickens and the quail in coops, is that it's more dangerous to heat up the coop. Then you get a lot of bedding that is wet and doesn't actually freeze, and you create a really cold, wet environment, which is really dangerous for respiratory illnesses. Birds are really susceptible to respiratory illness, and you're just basically creating this environment for these viruses to multiply and get your birds sick. So if they're wet and then they get cool, it's like jumping out of the bathtub and you're shivering. You know, around you is warm, but you're wet and cold and you just don't warm up. Like, it's a bad scenario. So we don't add any heat, so that way when it's cold, they're bunking down, and they can just survive that with, another point is deep bedding. So we add in, my hands are getting cold. We add in straw into our coops, and we give them some deep bedding with pine shavings, and we make sure that we are their feces don't build up in those shavings and the straw. We do change it, but we add in lots so they can, huddle down. If you know quails, they'll kind of bury themselves down because they're ground birds. They don't perch. So they huddle themselves and they puff up, and they keep themselves warm that way. And I've had great success with that. We feed them a good grain ration, a good protein, lots of BSFL. If you don't know what that is, black soldier fly larva, and I'll get to that in other videos. I'm actually raising black soldier fly larva, and I will be teaching you how to do that. So we're cutting the food costs, giving them real food, living food. And we're keeping them healthy and happy and satisfied. And I'm not going to say warm in the sense that they're under heat, but warm in the winter time. They're sheltered. They've got deep bedding. They are built, these little birds are built for the cold as well. And if you do those things that I just mentioned, then they're going to be happy and healthy. I raise about 70 of them, and they do fantastic. So it is possible to raise quail up here in the cold, but you have to remember to make sure that there's no wind hitting them. They have nice deep bedding. It does not get wet. Don't worry about adding extra heat. We use snow instead of water, so we're not fighting. We got dishes, and make sure they got a good quality, high protein food. that will sustain their little bodies. And you know what? They're not going to lay in the winter anyway. It's not enough light, and you don't want frozen eggs anyhow, so don't even worry about egg production. You're just worrying about keeping these little birds healthy and strong to survive the winter. And then come around April, they'll start laying, and mine lay all the way to November. So I'm gonna sign out because my hands are really getting cold, and I really hope this video helps you in knowing how to winterize your quail house and answer that question that yes, quails can survive way up north with really, really cold winters with no problem. If you want some more content, definitely subscribe to the channel and check out our website, everything-homemade.com. There you'll find some cookbooks that I have written, everything stevia and everything whole wheat sourdough. You'll also see a gardening series, Color to Learn Gardening, is also on there, as I am an avid gardener and we do grow most of our food. And I have a fiction series on there, so definitely check out our website, everything-homemade.com, and I'll see you on the next video.